conversation with this idea of interference fields and what we call either a focus or an interference field. They're synonyms depending if you're in America or Europe. But this is a really big part, especially when you approach anyone's health or anyone's history, and especially if you're thinking about detoxification, because we're going to talk about the fascia and the lymphatics and the extracellular matrix. And if you have interference fields, you have an interference to fascial communication. You might have an interference to chronic poisoning of the lymphatic system. You have a potentially toxic root canal. You have a scar interference field or a ganglia in the body that is bioaccumulated toxicants. And this is a really important understanding, because if we're going from the premise that the body can self-regulate and heal, what's getting in the way? So these are the people who detox all day long and don't get better. And then you look in their mouth and they are just, emptying the bucket, but the bucket is continuing to fill within their system, let alone the environmental pressures that they're up against. So please review this concept. It will change your practice if you're not looking at this. So this is just an example. We have scars, teeth, tonsils, different organs can be interference fields, injuries, and ganglia. And this is a common scar that I inject in my practice, the C-section scar. You can see that it's in the abdomen. It's going to, affect multiple acupuncture meridians. It's going to be affecting the surrounding lymphatics and fascial network. It's going to break down communication in the area. We'll talk a little bit more about the interconnection with the, the fascial fabric, that a scar there can affect even, distal tissues. And we can also hold memory and trauma in these areas of the body. So I'll go through that in more depth. This is, we used to look at panoramic x-rays. They're harder to get. We often now get 3D cone beam x-rays. And when you're doing this medicine, you want to have a really amazing biological dentist on your team. You don't want to be doing this alone. Our job is to identify and then partner with a trained dentist who can really guide and walk your patient through this. And so the 3D cone beams can be really insightful, because what's on a 2D film is not always what's in a 3D visualization. And what we're looking for is still amalgam fillings. Those are going to be the silver fillings that have mercury as the primary metal, but there's also, other mixed metals in there that are often neurotoxic, and they do release over time. And then there's a root canal. So root canals are these teeth. They're basically dead teeth. There's no other field of medicine where we leave dead tissue in the body. So this is a dead mini organ that we say, hey, let's just take out the root and put it non-biocompatible material in the roots. So sometimes metals, mercury can be in there as well. And that can be the slow poisoning of the terrain. We're also looking for where teeth have been extracted, that the bone doesn't always heal, and there can be these pockets of infection that are reservoirs of microbes that can have Bartonella, HPV, HSV, different yeast, or even amoebas. I've seen that on testing. So this is a big deal. And again, I could do a whole conversation on this. I'm not, but I just want to make sure if you're detoxing somebody, you have to look at the mouth. Don't ever detox anybody from heavy metals if they still have amalgams in their